Welcome to another Chef Knives to Go quick look product review. I'm Steve Gamache, and what we have this time is the Yamashin Aogami or Blue number 2 Gyuto 2 10mm knife from Chef Knives to Go. This knife has a 3-layer construction. It's all reactive. There's no stainless or semi-stainless or anything. This has the core steel is Aogami Blue paper number 2. High carbon steel. Heat treat's about 62 Rockwell plus or minus on that. And this steel will get really sharp and have pretty decent edge retention if you put a nice edge on it, but it'll get very, very sharp if you do your part. The construction has soft iron cladding, reactive cladding on either side of that core steel. And you can see you've got a kind of a sandblasted finish here. It's got a pretty good coat of lacquer over the whole thing, food safe lacquer. So that makes it a little shinier than it will be when that gets worn. So that'll wear away gradually. You use the knife. I'll talk about the edge in a minute. Got a couple comments on that. But so the weight and dimensions can vary on these a little bit from knife to knife. This particular one is 200 grams or 7.1 ounces. So it's got some thickness to it. It's got some weight to it. It's kind of a meaty blade. The edge length is about 213 or 8.4 inches from the tip to the back of the heel. And then the overall length is about 14.2 inches or 360 millimeters. The spine thickness, it's a fairly stout knife. So coming out of the handle, about over the back of the heel, I got about 4 millimeters there and about 2.5 millimeters thickness halfway down. And you can see it doesn't really lose much thickness at all. Not a lot of thickness in the grind until you get towards the edge. So it's not, the tip's not like super skinny, but it thins out kind of gradually as you go. This is not going to be a ghost through product type laser knife. You can see it's got some meat to it, but the grind looks pretty darn nice. It's the actual thinning down towards the edge is just slightly in front of that mark there. So it's really more where this strip is here. That's where it thins out going down towards the edge. It does get pretty thin right at that edge. Height is about 48.25 at the back, so lots of clearance for your finger there. There's a curve from the choil into the neck that goes into the handle, so there's a spot there for your finger for a pinch grip. The blade is, again, fairly meaty, so the balance point's going to be a little further forward on this. So there's your balance point. So it's going to definitely have a blade forward weight balance to it. Handles, just kind of a good basic standard octagonal walnut handle with a black pack-of-wood ferrule. They've got nice fit and finish actually on this handle. And they've got a really nice job gluing this up into, sealing this up into the handle. So ready to rock and roll right there, no problem. Let's get a beauty shot on this. I think I'll go this side because that's where you can see some embossed kanji and symbol there. So let's look at that left side of the blade. You've got some embossed symbols in kanji. And then on the right side of the blade, there's no markings on it. This has some brushing of the lacquer on it, so it's just lacquer marks here. They've done some brushing of the lacquer on there, so it's not on the steel. But they've got kind of a cool finish they did into the steel. These little swirls here is pretty neat looking. I will say, so this is very stiff. It's got clean grinds to it. Got that lacquer finish on it. The back half wasn't sharpened very well, so I'm going to give, part of the edge was 6 out of 10. The other part of the edge was 2 or 3 out of 10 because this back part, there wasn't an edge bevel on this section on this side. I don't remember this side or the other side, but there wasn't an edge bevel on it. So I went ahead and did a full sharpening on it and put an actual edge on it all the way down on both sides. So I will say this steel sharpens up really nice. It's like stinking sharp. I'm not the world's greatest sharpener, but this is very, very sharp. So this steel likes to get sharp, so that's really cool. I can tell that steel just wants to do that on this knife. So the steel's great in terms of sharpening. I haven't used it, but in terms of sharpening it is. Let's see, we talked about that. They do finish off a little bit of the spine, and they've got some relief on the choil. So I'd say the finish is pretty nice on this. Again, it's a meaty knife if you like a little bit of weight to it. Kind of a middleweight knife versus a thin laser. This is might be right up your alley. So let's look at the cutting profile. So you'll see this has a nice flat spot towards the back. It just kind of rolls into that back part. There's a touch of back belly on it, but not much. So it just kind of rolls in a nice big flat spot there. And then you can see the tip's fairly low. So let's see where we get here. Yeah, I'm digging the tip in about right there. If you wanted to, you could tweak that tip the last couple millimeters and kind of upsweep it when you sharpen it to give yourself a little bit more room before the tip bites in the board. But it's biting in the board right about there. So you're not going to get real high on this in terms of tweaking the tip on sharpening. But nice gentle curve there, good flat spot towards the back. This will tip draw like crazy. You don't have to lift the handle too high because of that. It's kind of, you know, balancing act there, but great for push-pull cuts, glide cuts, chopping. So it's a very interesting knife. It's, again, all reactive, but if you like kind of a middleweight or something with a little heft to it, the steel, again, sharpening the steel got really sharp for me. So this is the Yamashin Aogami Air Blue No. 2 and Gyuto 210mm knife from Chef Knives to Go.